Good morning, parents, grandparents, and all family members, friends, and guests. The academic procession is now arriving at the east gate of Butterfield Stadium. The procession into the stadium will begin with a fanfare composed by Class of 2017 graduate Zach Latino for this occasion. Welcome to Ithaca College's 122nd commencement. We are happy you are able to join us today to celebrate the graduation of your student. Share and follow commencement moments as they happen on Twitter. Use the hashtag #ICGrads to join the live conversation. In the unlikely event of an emergency, please proceed to the nearest and safest exit while keeping in mind that it may not be how you entered the stadium. look to event staff and public safety personnel to direct you upon exiting the stadium. Thank you for your cooperation. A reminder that only graduates, faculty, and authorized personnel are permitted on the field during today's ceremony. Violators will be asked to leave the field. The academic procession is led by the college marshal. He is accompanied by the 6 senior class officers and the 2 senior class gift committee co-chairs. stadium are the first of our degree candidates. They are from our founding school, the School of Music. They are led by the student marshals, Marcia Rose and Laura White. And here is the School of Humanities and Sciences. Leading the students are student marshals Natasha Brodsky and Caitlin Matrasi. welcome the Park School of Communications. They are led by the student marshals, Jacob Ascoli and Samantha Weil. the School of Business. Leading the students are Student Marshals Ben Gross and Alec Peters.
welcome the graduates from the School of Health Sciences and Human Performance. They are led by the student marshals Maya Drummond and Melissa Hirsch. candidates are now on the field. From the schools of music, please raise your banner. Please raise your banner. Humanities and sciences, please raise your banner. Communications, please raise your banner. Business, please raise your banner. And health sciences and human performance, please raise your banner. Now entering the stadium are members of the Ithaca College Alumni Association Board of Directors. Next, in the academic procession are members of the Ithaca College faculty. Ladies and gentlemen, the Ithaca College Board of Trustees, members of the administration, our guest speaker, Bill D'Elia, and our college president, Thomas R. Rochon.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, the 122nd Commencement of Ithaca College is now convened. Please rise. Please rise for the singing of the alma mater and the national anthem of the United States of America. And when completed, please be seated.
Ithaca forever, shine your light on me. In my heart together, we shall always be. And here's to Ithaca, my Ithaca, how beautiful you are. Your towers high upon South Hill reach from stone to star. Ithaca forever, guide us on our way, like a shining beacon, light our night and day. And here's to Ithaca, my Ithaca, how bright your vision seems. May all your sons and daughters dare to live their dreams.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly gleaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Good morning. I am Linda Petrosino, Provost and Vice President for Educational Affairs, and it is a pleasure to welcome you to the 122nd Commencement at Ithaca College. We have come together today to celebrate the achievements of the class of 2017. Each member of this class has followed her or his own unique path leading to this moment. You, our graduates, have worked hard inside of classrooms, outside of classrooms, here in Ithaca and in locations around the globe, in your internships and your volunteer sites, as members of student organizations, as student athletes. You have been dedicated to your educational experience, to expanding your knowledge, your skills, and your understanding of yourselves and the world of which you are a part. The Ithaca College community, its alumni, students, administration, staff, and faculty all applaud you for your accomplishments and for all we know you will do both personally and professionally in the years ahead. You have achieved much during your time here, and today we celebrate your achievements. I would like to take a moment and specifically recognize graduates who excelled academically. With the students who earned the distinction of summa cum laude, please rise. This honor is reserved for students who earn an overall grade point average of 3.9 and above. Summa cum laude honorees, please remain standing. Would the students who earned the distinction of magna cum laude please rise? Magna cum laude is reserved for students who earn an overall grade point average of 3.70 to 3.899. Please remain standing. Would the students who earned the distinction of cum laude please rise? Cum laude is reserved for students who earned an overall grade point average of 3.5 to 3.699. Please join me in recognizing the exceptional accomplishments of this extraordinary group of students. Graduates, you know that you did not arrive at this moment without support from your friends and your family. Many of those individuals are here today. I want to offer a special welcome and thank you to all of those who have been so important in the lives of the graduates today. Thank you for everything that you've done for this group of graduates here in front of you. As we celebrate today, we also want to recognize the dedicated members of the Ithaca College community who have contributed to your educational experience. I am especially proud and appreciative of our faculty and their commitment to the students. I want to take this opportunity to recognize a particular group of faculty, those who recently have achieved the title of Professor Emeritus. To be eligible for this status, a faculty member must have served at least 15 years at Ithaca College, have been tenured, and have achieved a sustained record of significant contributions in the areas of teaching, scholarship and professional activity, and service to the college, profession, and community. This year, the college has conferred emeritus status on Howard Ehrlich, Associate Professor of Communication Studies and former Dean of the School of Humanities and Sciences. Mark Fonder, Professor of Music Education. Firoz Mata, Professor of Music Performance. Richard Schitzel, Professor of Speech Language Pathology and Audiology. Bruce Smith, Professor of Biology. Mark Sternstein, Professor of Mathematics. Dana Wilson, Professor of Music Theory, History, and Composition. Rakib Zaman, Professor of Finance and International Business. It is indeed an honor to pay tribute to such a distinguished gathering of retired faculty. We will be forever grateful for your service to the college and for your many years of dedicated teaching. We extend our very best wishes to each and all of you. And now, please join me in welcoming the 8th President of Ithaca College, Dr. Thomas R. Roshan.
The sun is shining on the class of 2017. And you know how extraordinary an event that is here in Ithaca. My first pleasurable duty today is to introduce our honorary degree recipients who are being recognized for their work in creating dialogue that bridges social divisions in America. Many thoughtful citizens of every political persuasion are troubled by the state of discourse in our nation today. And as a society, we don't always live up to our highest ideals for thoughtful, empathetic, and respectful discussion of the issues that divide us. This point applies to national political discourse as well as to many people in communities across the country and on our own campus. At the same time, it's important not to lose sight of the fact that many people are working energetically to foster genuine dialogue and understanding across the major fault lines in our society: race and ethnicity, sexual orientation and gender identity, and religion. I join the Honorary Degree Committee, the Faculty Council, and the Board of Trustees in believing that Ithaca College should honor those who have worked effectively to foster dialogue, that is focused on hard questions and truths in our society, but that is at the same time pursued with full respect for our shared humanity. In honoring these two individuals, we support their efforts to build bridges of understanding and respect in communities across the nation. At this time, I invite our honorary degree candidate, Ann Thompson Cook, to join me at the podium. Ann Thompson Cook, you have enabled meaningful conversations about LGBT equality to take place by invoking principles and values rooted in religious communities. Your work as one co-founder of Many Voices, a Black church movement for gay and transgender justice, furthers understanding of the relationship between theology and sexuality. Partnering with people from diverse backgrounds, your work has led to an increased understanding of the disproportionate impact that poverty, violence, and lack of employment have, particularly on LGBT members of the Black community. You've described your motivation for this work as follows: I'm troubled that anyone is afraid to be fully who they are. I dream of a world in which all children are free to develop their own gifts and interests, knowing that they are welcome and celebrated just as they are. Your deceptively simple view that everyone should be free to develop their own gifts and that everyone deserves to be welcomed and celebrated is at the heart of your publications, including And God Loves Each One and Made in God's Image. These works have inspired many people to come together more fully in community and mutual respect. And that includes students, staff, and faculty on our own campus who've participated in programs using your work under the sponsorship of the Center for LGBT Education, Outreach, and Services and the Office of the Chaplains. Attesting to the impact your work has had here at IC, Luca Maurer writes, Ann's work frames the complex and essential issues of spirituality, gender, and sexuality in a supportive manner while offering opportunities to engage in personal reflection, community education, and dialogue within church and family. Her work offers a path toward deeper understanding and greater compassion. Ann Thompson Cook, for your contributions in advocating for LGBT equality, in contributing to inclusive understandings of religious views on sexual orientation and gender differences, and in promoting respectful dialogue about sexuality, we are honored this day to confer upon you the degree Doctor of Letters honoris causa.
Thank you, President Roshan. I'd also like to thank Luca, who guided me from the very beginning on everything I was writing about gender. And thank you, graduates. Hello. You're awesome. I just really want to congratulate you and your family and friends who are all celebrating with you. When I heard about this award being presented at your commencement, I remembered sitting at my own commencement 50 years ago in 1967. At that time, perhaps like you today, I had no idea what would become my life's work. In fact, I only began to glimpse it in the 1980s at a time when most gay and transgender people were closeted. Suddenly, friends began coming out to me. They told me painful stories of their families kicking them out, being bullied at school, begging God to change them, resorting to drugs and trying to kill themselves. Experiences I have been oblivious to. I found myself watching my little boys and their friends running through our home, wondering who would realize they were gay or trans. And I knew that nothing had changed. I slowly realized that I couldn't stand by and let the same thing happen to yet another generation. It sounds straightforward, but that thought persisted for 2 or 3 years, like a buzzing in my ear while I went about my life. You can probably imagine the voices in my head. Who am I to take that on? What do I know? When I finally surrendered to the insistent buzzing and began stepping forward, I proceeded to make a lot of mistakes. For example, getting impatient with people for being clueless. Ironic, don't you think? Since I had so recently been clueless myself. Other mistakes were trying to debate or argue or label people. I was being righteous. That may feel good at the moment, but it's pretty certain to make people defensive or mad. It further hardens positions and increases polarization. So I had to look more deeply at myself and at the people I was eager to engage in dialogue. Among other things, I learned, 1, to accept people exactly where they are, 2, to ask permission, and 3, to have the courage in the face of my fears to pursue my vision. Here's an example of what becomes possible when you can accept people exactly where they are. I was sitting down to write my first guide to sexual orientation for people in churches. By then, I had had hundreds of conversations, always listening deeply for what worried people, what they knew and didn't know, what they'd been taught or simply absorbed, what opened them up, and what shut them down. By then, I had a very clear view of my audience, just how uncomfortable they were and how unmotivated they were to delve into this sensitive topic. In light of their discomfort and lack of motivation, I understood that if my guide was to make a difference, it would have to be appealing and inviting so people would pick it up, open it, and keep reading. The text would need a lot of white space so as not to be intimidating. It would need to have photos of attractive people that looked familiar. It would need to be gentle. As I wrote, I would often stop and say, no, I can't say that. They'll just stop reading. So I'd look for another approach that the reader could take in and still turn the page for more. It's not always easy to accept people where they are. You and I may feel they should be somewhere else, but they're not. That doesn't necessarily mean they won't change. It just means that right at this moment, they're exactly where they are, with whatever blind spots come with that. It may not be easy, but when you can accept people where they are, you'll be most effective with whatever differences you're working to bridge. In my writing, it has been totally worth it. After I published that guide, same-gender loving people told me that it had reunited them with their families. The second learning was to ask permission. Here's how I ask. Would you be open to a conversation about XYZ? Then I wait while they register my request. Usually they'll say yes. Sometimes they'll say it's not a good time just now, how about tomorrow? Any yes is already a huge step toward respectful dialogue. Now for the courage to pursue your vision, or maybe I should say a vision to give you courage. First, may I ask you a question? What would the world look like if it worked for everyone with no one left out? You could answer by telling me what's wrong in the world and what doesn't work. Most likely, as Ithaca College graduates, a well-reasoned analysis. But that's not you imagining how the world would be if it worked for everyone. You could even scoff that I'm asking you to be ridiculously naive. But here's the thing, it's only when we can envision the world we long for that we can begin to embody and stand for it. When we can envision it, we're no longer fighting or resisting. We actually become that vision in the way we live our lives. Along my path to shift a narrative, I've needed a lot of courage to ask questions and risk looking stupid, courage to show up in extremely unfamiliar territory, courage to build on possibilities where others saw insurmountable barriers. The internal voices that agree with those who see a straight, cisgender white person and don't get why I'm here. My vision of a world that welcomes all children just as they are calls me beyond these doubts and fears. It calls me to keep asking the question, what's next for me to do? So graduates with your degrees in hand, listen for your own vision. Screw up your courage. Give people the respect of asking, are you open to a conversation? And remember that people are just as they are until they aren't. And if you get that buzzing in your ear that won't go away, listen to it. It's telling you something important. It will give you your life. Thank you again, and congratulations to each of you.
This time, I invite our other honorary degree candidate, LeJune Montgomery Tabron, to join me at the podium. LeJune Montgomery Tabron, your leadership of the W.K. Kellogg Foundation focuses on ensuring that all children, families, and communities, regardless of race or income, have opportunities to reach their full potential. The foundation also supports communities in healing racial wounds and addressing the barriers created by structural racism. At the very beginning of your presidency of the Kellogg Foundation in 2014, you stated that the foundation would expand its focus on, quote, achieving racial equity through racial healing and using civic and community engagement as our primary mechanisms for effecting sustainable change, unquote. To achieve these goals, you've been instrumental in the Truth, Racial Healing, and Transformation enterprise, which has engaged more than 130 organizations and individuals in a collaborative national and yet community-based effort to, quote, help communities across the United States embrace racial healing and uproot a false belief in a hierarchy of human value that limits equal access to quality education, fulfilling employment, safe neighborhoods, and quality health care. One aspect of your work has been to organize a National Day of Racial Healing on January 17th of this year. This day served as the beginning of a year-long focus on bridge building across the nation. In discussing this event, you observed, let us remind ourselves that we are not a nation of demolition workers trying to destroy institutions, but rather a community of creative construction workers seeking to build bridges that will ensure a more perfect union and oneness within our country. A key tenet of your work is to empower those in local communities to solve systemic problems that create barriers. As you told a Forbes magazine interviewer in 2014, I want to look back and say that we created measurable change for vulnerable children at the community level, and that these communities are thriving because we helped people help themselves. Lejeune Montgomery Tabron, in recognition of your commitment to foster a nation of creative construction workers who build bridges and act effectively to advance racial equity, we are honored this day to confer upon you the degree Doctor of Letters, honoris causa.
Thank you so much to President Rashawn and the Board of Trustees of Ithaca College. And congratulations to the 2017 class. I'm honored to be here with you this morning, and I must say that I accept this distinction with utmost humility. It was not my life plan to be in the place that I am today. In fact, I'm not saying I didn't have a plan. I'm just saying that someone greater than I had a better plan. Here is my narrative. I was born in the city of Detroit. I graduated from the Detroit Public Schools. I received my undergraduate degree in accounting from the University of Michigan and an MBA from the Kellogg School of Northwestern University. I'm number 9 of 10 children, the 9th child, I say, and there's 20 years between the oldest and youngest child. In addition to being the 9th child, I am the 9th president of the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, and our assets are $9 billion. So I must say that 9 is my favorite number. And towards that end, I noted that your incoming president, Dr. Shirley Kayada, will become the 9th president of Ithaca College in July. So you see, we have a lot in common, and I must tell you that the 9th position has great wisdom, and so I predict great things for this college in the future. So as the 9th child, I was able to observe the successes and failures of my 8 older siblings. I often felt like I was their do-over. I perfected their successes and avoided their failures. And I should note, I learned much from number 10, in case she's listening. In my family of 8 children, 8 of 10 attended college, and the other 2 pursued a career in gospel music and one with General Motors, both successful in their own right. And I do feel like I carry the wisdom of 2 decades, and it has been the best training ground for my leadership development. So in my family, leadership and dialogue was the norm. Nothing was accepted at face value. Today, I'm wise enough to call it dialogue. At the time, my mother called it arguing. And in fact, she finally purchased encyclopedias because she told us to stop arguing and look things up. And of course, that was the days before Google, if you even know what an encyclopedia is. But as a result, I left my family with my preparation skills honed, my facts in hand, and my willingness to hear at least 9 different perspectives, sometimes 11 when my parents were involved. I still, at that moment, thought I wanted to be an accountant. But 3 years on my journey in the world of public accounting, I received a call from the Kellogg Foundation to join them as their controller. Not only did this change my career path, but it changed my life. As I stand before you today, I am celebrating my 30th year at the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, and the last 3.5 years as president. So I want to pause for a minute. Is that the narrative you've heard typically from a kid from Detroit? Probably not. But one thing that I've learned is that you have to take control of the narrative. The person who tells the story has the power. And I tell you today that this story is not just my story, but it's many stories from people from Detroit. So when I arrived at the Kellogg Foundation, I found my home away from home, another place where I could help shape the new narrative. Our mission at the foundation, as has been said, is to improve the lives of children by supporting people and organizations who are striving to create conditions so that most vulnerable children can thrive. And as a learning organization, we've continuously taken the work deeper and deeper in order to remove systemic barriers that prevent vulnerable children from thriving. And finally, we determined we must stop treating the symptoms and look for the root causes. And as a result, our work today sometimes mirrors the work of the civil rights movement and anchors the basic tenets of building an equitable democracy, because unfortunately, that work is still undone. Which is why we launched the newest endeavor, the Truth, Racial Healing, and Transformation Enterprise, as another bold and courageous step to address the deeply embedded belief in racial hierarchy, which has led to significant inequities in our country and disadvantages the most vulnerable children in society. Our vision is to jettison this belief and its effects and build a nation that marshals its resources to ensure that all children thrive. And I know this is tough work, and it requires thoughtful leadership, unequivocal commitment to excellence, willingness to change unfruitful practices, and the courage to continually self-examine as individuals, as a foundation, and as a nation. To do this work, we decided our first step was to walk the talk. We had to build a diverse board, staff, and grantee base. And today, We have one of the most diverse boards in private philanthropy, with 60% people of color serving on our board. Our workforce is also diverse, with 45% people of color. This has been our dogged determination because it creates what we call an authorizing environment for this work. This is our new narrative. It's a conscious narrative of equity at every level of the organization. And it appears today that Ithaca College has chosen to take this journey as well. And I tell you, as graduates, you have a key role to play as alumni. For the narrative of this college will be shaped by what its alumni do in their personal lives and in their professional lives. And so I ask you, grab hold of your narrative and join the movement to build an equitable and just, diverse society. For Mahatma Gandhi reminds us that we are to be the change that we wish to see in the world. And yes, this starts with you. So in this moment where you are controlling your narrative, I want you to ask these reflective questions. What stories do you believe or not believe about the human family? How did that story come to be in your mind and your life experience? And then as you dig deeper with a friend or a family member in dialogue, consider these questions. What is the narrative story of the Native and Indigenous people? Is what you know only from one source, or is it your own family's story? When and how did your family arrive in the United States? Are you recent immigrants? How is your story unique? Are there any limitations to where you work, live, and raise a family? As an African American, who were the champions in your history? If you're not African American, what do you know of their history, and how has this informed your history? As a Latino, what did you learn about the origin of your family? Was immigration a part of that story? Was your family on this land before it became America? Assess where you are now and how you got to where you are. Own your narrative. Tell your story and live your narrative. I believe this will be your competitive advantage as you enter the workforce. Taking leadership and creating a future that embraces one humanity and understanding that there are multiple narratives. And remember, as you take this leadership journey, the famous words of an American clergyman, scholar, and author, Eugene H. Peterson. He notably stated, without narratives, we end up with stereotypes. A flat earth with flat cardboard figures that have no texture or depth and no interior. Thank you.
Well, again, my congratulations to both of our honorary degree recipients. And let me also say again, congratulations, class, to you for your accomplishments in which we take so much pride and excitement. We should acknowledge that today is naturally a day of uncertainty for many of you about the future. I was reading your mortar boards as you walked by earlier this morning, and perhaps uncertainty specifically about the way that you will make your way in the world beyond higher education. Your uncertainty might be reduced by the realization that you are graduating into a world that needs you. There's so much that needs to be done. We've heard that from our 2 honorary degree recipients. And I've reached an age where perhaps I've earned the right to say that I've witnessed enormous progress in the world over my lifetime, progress that is technical, and economic, and social. But every advance and every accomplishment also raises our awareness about the challenges yet to be met. So the very fact that we've made so much progress in recent decades means that we have, as a society, never had a bigger or more pressing agenda for future progress. The world needs you. Our honorary degree recipients, Dr. Cook and Dr. Tabron, are wonderful examples of people who identified a need and dedicated themselves to working on it. What will be your work? What will be your cause? What huge and audacious challenge will provide meaning and substance to your life? At a time when you're trying to figure out in very concrete ways how to transition successfully into the next stage of your life, when your most pressing question might be figuring out where your first paycheck is going to come from, you might think it's unfair that I or anybody else would load on you the additional burden of discovering your personal mission. But what I want to convey to you, and actually my only message to you today, is that these concerns are one and the same. Your passion and your mission will guide you into the next phase of your life. They may or may not lead to that first paycheck. Sometimes we have to temporize in the short term. But identifying your core values and then mapping those values onto the challenges of the world and acting to meet those challenges will enable you to design for yourself a life that is rich, meaningful, and fulfilling in every sense. There are over 1,400 seniors and graduate students here today, and every one of you has been on a wonderful journey. Some of you for just a year or two as graduate students or transfer students from another college. Some of you have been here 5 or 6 years, completing 1 or more degrees. But many of you, the largest number of you, arrived on this campus over the weekend of August 24 and 25 in the year 2013. That was 1,265 days ago. 32,760 hours ago, or for those of you who savor every moment, 1,965,000 minutes ago. It seems like yesterday, doesn't it? It's my honor to leave the graduating class with a memento of your time at IC, the medallion that you're now wearing. On the back of the medallion, I offer a quotation from Walt Whitman that I first put before you at the new student convocation nearly 2 million minutes ago. Sail forth, steer for the deep waters only. Reckless, O soul exploring, I with thee and thou with me. For we are bound where mariner has not yet dared to go. I hope Whitman's metaphor will be helpful to you from time to time as you go through life. And meanwhile, I salute your exploration of the deep waters during your time here at Ithaca College. I congratulate you on arriving today at this harbor of celebration. And as we both prepare to leave Ithaca College, I with thee and thou with me, I join you in sailing forth, bound where mariner has not yet dared to go. My warmest congratulations on your accomplishments, class of 2017. It's my pleasure now to introduce our alumni speaker this morning. The phrase, Television with a Conscience is how the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences characterized the winners of the 2012 Television Academy Honors, who included our speaker today, Bill D'Elia, class of 1969. Television with a Conscience is a great description of Bill's entire body of work in a medium that is often criticized for lacking a conscience. Think of any network television drama over the last 2 decades that could be characterized as both thought-provoking and entertaining, and Bill's name has likely been attached to it as a producer or a director. The West Wing, Grey's Anatomy. This is kind of like a focus group, you realize, Bill. Glee, Northern Exposure. Yeah, see, that's my generation. I love that one. Boston Legal. When Boston Legal was honored in 2005 with a Peabody Award, which recognizes distinguished and meritorious public service by the media, it was singled out for, quote, fearing neither silliness nor social commentary, and for adroitly combining the two. Bill's current show, the hit ABC series, How to Get Away with Murder. Yeah, I knew it. No historical consciousness whatsoever. How to Get Away with Murder was named as one of the top 10 television programs of the year by the American Film Institute and won the award for Outstanding Drama Series at the 46th NAACP Image Awards and the 26th GLAAD Media Awards. When Bill was studying TVR at Ithaca College, one of his teachers was Rod Serling. It's easy to see the direct lineage from the entertainment and social commentary values of The Twilight Zone and the body of work that Bill has created, using television to both amuse and inspire. I know Rod would be delighted to see this extension of his legacy in one of his former students. Class of 2017, would you join me in welcoming your fellow alumnus, Bill D'Elia?
You know, Anne and Lejeune are tough acts to follow, but I'll try my best. Thank you, President Rochon, for that gracious introduction. I sound like somebody I'd like to meet someday. I'd also like to thank the senior class executive board for inviting me to be your speaker today, with a special thanks to the commencement committee and Sierra Lucas, your class president. Look, I thought at first that this was some devious trick to get me back here to return those library books that I took with me in 1969. But once I saw this robe and this hat, I figured it was legit. All right, they're not coming after me, are we? That was just a joke about the books. I really didn't take them. My thanks also to senior members of the administration, to Vice Chair Dave Lissy and the Board of Trustees, some of whom I've gotten to know over the last few days. Congratulations to the faculty and the staff for your achievement in successfully guiding these students to this day. And of course, congratulations to you, the class of 2017. To your parents and your grandparents, your relatives and friends, your loved ones that are here today, some of whom I've had the pleasure of meeting over the course of this weekend, from as far away as Namibia. I met Adolf and Sylvia from Namibia. This school has such a broad reach, and there's some lunatics over here from South Carolina. And you people in the back, I did order your pizzas at 7 o'clock this morning, but the trucks had trouble getting in, and you guys are crazy for getting here before I did. But congratulations to all of you. And look, before I get to what I want to tell you, I need to acknowledge something and get it right out of the way. Almost 50 years ago, I met a girl right here on this campus. She's been by my side ever since. We've now been married over 45 years. Yeah, you can applaud that, that's for sure. There were a bunch of really great fights during those 45 years. But I can tell you with every honest bone in my body that I would not have achieved enough for you to have invited me here today to speak to you if it were not for that girl. Nothing I have accomplished could have been accomplished without the girl formerly known as Eleanor Ann Dombrowski, class of 1971. And I could not have returned to this campus and speak to you from my heart, as I intend to do, without acknowledging how full that heart is and has been since the day we met somewhere in one of these nearby classrooms. So, our return to this campus is as emotional and important a day for me as it is for all of you. And because I'm an emotional guy, when I was initially asked to be your commencement speaker, I hesitated for a long time. President Rochon will tell you that I didn't answer right away, using the time-honored excuse of having to check my schedule. But the real concern I had was this: what can a guy that makes television for a living say to this diverse group about to embark on life's grand journey? What can I say to those of you that have spent the last 4 years fueled by what I call the twin engines of intellectual growth and, let's face it, uninhibited fun? It's annoying how much fun it is to be 20 years old. You annoy me, people. Listen, it was months before I responded to your president. And when I did accept, it was because I realized something that I knew that was a starting point for me. And that was that I knew what it feels like to be in your shoes. I know how I felt on this day those many years ago. The American mythologist and scholar Joseph Campbell said, and I'm paraphrasing here, "An older man contains all the ages he has ever been. He may be 69 years old, but he's also a teenager, a 30-year-old. He inhabits all of his ages." Meantime, remember that the next time your parents have something to say to you. So I'm an old guy that can look back on the years I spent since graduation day, and I can see a pattern that is as clear to me now as it wasn't as I lived it. And in that, I found the story I want to share with you today. And because this is me, the story starts with a scene from a movie. The movie is Charlie Wilson's War. It was written by Aaron Sorkin, and it was directed by Mike Nichols. And in the movie, Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, Gus, tells Tom Hanks's character, Charlie, the following story. There's a little boy, and on his 14th birthday, he gets a horse. And everybody in the village says, "How wonderful, the boy got a horse." And the Zen master of the village says, "We'll see." 2 years later, the boy falls off the horse and breaks his leg, and the village exclaims, "How terrible, the boy broke his leg." The Zen master says, "We'll see." Then a war breaks out, and all the young men have to go off and fight, except the boy can't because his leg's all messed up. And everybody in the village says, "How wonderful, the boy doesn't have to fight." And the Zen master says, "We'll see." And now here you are, full of promise, and here I am, full of experience. I've fallen off my horse many times. You guys are about to get on yours. Life for you now is an open road. It's wide and long with many side roads and a lot of off-ramps. As you travel down your chosen path, making your life choices, choosing each road down which to travel, that wide and long road will get narrower and shorter. Here's what happened to me. And I think that there's a theme here that you heard in what Anne and Lejeune had to say, and it resonates right here. I got a job I very much wanted at an advertising agency in Manhattan. I was producing television commercials. How exciting it was for me to do that. How much fun it was to have that job. Based on this very exciting job that I very much wanted, I was on the fast track to become an advertising guy. Yeah, I didn't want to be an advertising guy. Not that there's anything wrong with that, it's just that I didn't really want to do that. Oops, I was married, we had a child, I had bills to pay, I was happy in my personal life, I was miserable in my professional life. My road was narrowing, so I quit. I took a jackhammer to that road. I decided that the road I really needed to travel was the one that would lead me to the world of filmmaking. I learned enough about myself by now to think that my real talent was that of a director. At the time, for me, commercials seemed to be the most likely route to that, so I started my own production company. And I went broke. It seemed like I made a terrible mistake quitting that job. Had I known a Zen master, he might have said, "We'll see." It took a year of wondering, had I made the right choice? And then I got some work, and then I got some more. And in a short period of time, I became a very successful director of television commercials. It didn't take long for that road to get narrow again. Not only did I now have 2 children to support, but employees to worry about. I was going to be selling cars and Cheerios for the rest of my life. Now, maybe I was selling them on TV, but still, I was pretty much a salesman. Once again, oops, didn't want to do that. Now, for my entire life, I have been an avid reader. One of my favorite authors is Thomas Berger. If you haven't read Thomas Berger, I suggest you do so right away. In fact, go now. Yeah, you won't graduate. You'll miss the rest of the speech, but it'll be okay, really. Are you going to stay, okay? Well, that's good, because that's another piece of advice I wanted to give you, and I'll just excise it from my speech, and at the risk of influencing how you feel about the rest of what I have to say, that advice would have been, don't listen to your elders' advice. Okay, so here's what happened. I got it into my head that I could make a movie from the Thomas Berger novel, The Feud. By the way, I began to think that I could be a director after seeing the movie Nashville, which was directed by Robert Altman. It was inspiring to me. And when I called to option the book of The Feud by Thomas Berger, and this was, by the way, many, many years after I saw the movie Nashville, I was told that the book wasn't available because it had been optioned by Robert Altman. I was disappointed and impressed with myself all at once. Robert Altman had the rights, the guy that inspired me in the first place, and it's at this point that the Zen master probably would have said, well, we'll see. 6 months later, Altman dropped the option, I picked it up. I found out later that The Feud was a Pulitzer Prize nominee. I didn't know that at the time. But combined with the Altman news, I sure felt good about myself. I optioned the book, I wrote a screenplay. And by the way, I had no idea how to do that. I don't think there was a course, and I don't think there is a course on how to adapt a novel. I just kind of made it up. I just did it. I made it my midnight to 2 a.m. project. But what I did learn here was how to think for myself. What I did learn here was how to maximize opportunity. What happened here on this campus laid the foundation for my lofty goals. For it was here at Ithaca that I learned to speak up. And I learned in speaking up that I had something to say. So I would write all night in between my commercial projects. I'd get up in the morning and I'd look at the pages. If I thought they were good, I kept them. If I thought they were garbage, that's where I threw them. It took me about a year. I didn't know it at the time, but I was again taking a jackhammer to my road. Once I had that screenplay, I did what I still call a bold, arrogant, and stupid thing. I closed my commercial company. I quit my own business, and I told anyone that would listen that I was making a movie. Sounds like I quit a lot, doesn't it? But I want you all to understand that at the time, I knew no one in the film business, absolutely no one. No doors were open for me. I just kept knocking on the closed ones. I took that screenplay around. I talked to anyone that would listen to me to try and get this movie made. And finally, I talked to enough people that I was able to secure financing and make the movie. And then the first actor I reached out to said to me, I wanted to make this movie when Robert Altman offered it to me. And that's where everybody in the Zen Masters Village probably would have said, how wonderful. What I figured was this: I'll make the movie, it'll be good, I'll travel down a road that is once again wide and long and full of possibilities. But what happened was this: I made the movie, it was good, it made no money, disappeared in a week, my road got suddenly narrow and short again. And I was broke for the second time in my life. What a horrible mistake I made. I had no prospects, my commercial business was gone. I literally cried at night, wondering what I had done to my children's lives by taking such a gamble. This was an awful, awful mistake. And again, if I had a Zen master in my life, you know what he would have said. Then, as that Zen master might have suspected, someone liked the movie enough, gave me a television show to direct, and then another, and then another. Then I was asked to be an executive producer and director on the CBS show Chicago Hope. It ran for 6 years, and I made lifelong friends and professional associations that have lasted to this day. I moved to Los Angeles, began a career as a producer and a director of lots of television. It's not what I thought was going to happen, but I'm very happy that it did happen. And then, just this year, those of you that just screamed and yelled about the show I'm on, I did it again. I decided to change the path down which I was traveling. Up until this past February, I was an executive producer and director of How to Get Away with Murder, as President Roshan mentioned. After 3 years on that show, I decided I needed to do something new. I had no offers, I had no plans. I had one plan, and that was to leave the show, and so I did that. Now, this may be my specific story, but the truths it reveals are universal and became only obvious to me in retrospect. I had no idea there was a point to make while this was all happening, but there is a point. It's clear to me now. The point is this: I didn't make any of those decisions because I wanted to be a director. I didn't make any of those decisions because I wanted to be a producer. I made all of those decisions because I didn't like the way that life was defining me. I wanted to define my life, not have it the other way around. Because that's what you're going to be faced with starting tomorrow. Once you're no longer in academia, once the walls of this place no longer surround you, you'll start down your own path. And that path, your own precious and unique path, will start to define you. Don't let it. I'm telling you that life will conspire to make you less. Your job, your real job, is to conspire to make you more. Push back on that narrow road. Keep that jackhammer close by. Bust up your path. Okay, your parents are not going to like this part, but here's a mistake to make. I've seen lots of people make it. The mistake is this: to pick the exact profession you want. Sounds like that runs counter to what you've been thinking, I bet. Shouldn't you decide what you want to do for a living and try to hit that target, get that job? I say no. Don't do it. I told you your parents wouldn't like that. Cast a wider net. Don't say, I want to be a Wall Street broker. Say, I love things financial. Don't say, I want to be a director. Say, I love to tell stories. Keep that road wide. Don't let it narrow. When I was your age, I used to get this advice, and I'm sure you get it too. I used to hear this all the time. Just be yourself. I would listen to this, and I would wonder, what the hell are people talking about? Be myself. What the hell does be yourself mean? I had no idea who I was at your age. How could I be whoever that was? I didn't realize at first that the very question held the answer. I would embark on a lifelong search for who I was. I don't mean I went, climbed a mountaintop, lived with the Sherpas, and studied with the Dalai Lama. What I mean is, what you heard earlier from your previous speakers, these learned doctors. I was constantly examining where I was on life's road and deciding if this was indeed the right path for me. And as I told you, I'm doing it still. My title may have been executive producer, my credit may have read director, but my job was a constant search for betterment and happiness. And in doing so, I found the profession that lets me be me. That is your goal. Now, it just so happened that I found out that those pursuits, directing, producing, those are the things that made me happy. It suited me. I was good at it. I loved it. Here's what I found out about me. I like telling stories. I like making things up. I like being surrounded by people. I like chaos. I like solving creative problems. And here's a weird thing. I found out I don't like being in charge. I just don't want anybody else to be. Literally, I found this out about me. And by the way, I think that quality makes me a pretty good boss. Your job, your lifelong pursuit should be to find out about you. Don't limit yourself to who you are now. Don't stop becoming. Don't pattern your life to fit a role you think you want. Pattern your life to fulfill who you are. How do you find out who you are? Keep asking. My road is decidedly narrower and shorter than the one you're about to embark upon. I have a lot more yesterdays than I have tomorrows, and I'm still constantly assessing who I am. Never stop doing that. That's the big secret. Never stop asking, who am I? Okay, now here's the hard part. The professional stuff I've been recounting is easy. It's selfish. It's all about you. Here's what's harder, the personal stuff. There's only two really difficult things in life. One, finding love. Two, keeping it. That's all, just those two things. Those things are about something larger than yourself. Those things are cosmic. And I don't believe, as some do, that things happen for a reason. Sometimes, as the song goes, fortune smiles on some and lets the rest go free. But I do believe if you're open to it, recognizing that you found love and working to keep it can be two of the most rewarding parts of a life well spent. A bit about luck in a second, but I've been lucky. I found a partner, well, we found each other, to be accurate, as I told you, right here on this Ithaca College campus. She's not only traveled all those roads with me, she's the one that happily and confidently hands me the jackhammer every time. All right, so all this experience has led me to this, my list of the top 10 things I've learned. I'm going to tell you the top 10 things I've learned over the course of 50 years since I sat where you're sitting. Some of these things on my list are things I've discovered. Some of them are things that others have said or written that I've found particularly useful. So here's what I've learned. Number one, there's no greater burden than a wonderful opportunity. I think the pizza truck just arrived. I'm going to say that again. There's not about the pizza truck. There's no greater burden than a wonderful opportunity. Realize that gaining something that you wanted is just the first step. Take no opportunity lightly. Number two, chance favors the prepared mind. I've been lucky in life, and I've worked really, really hard at it. Fortune indeed did smile on me, but I was ready for it. It seems the harder I've worked, the luckier I've gotten. When that tremendous burden of an opportunity presents itself, you damn well have better prepared for it. If you have, you can get really lucky. Number 3, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, to prioritize one over the other. Now, you may have noticed I'm a guy that loves to talk, but I learned early on the importance of keeping my mouth shut. Many years ago, when I was at that ad agency, I was arguing a point that I was obviously going to lose, and I was not recognizing that I was going to lose this argument with a client, of all things. And a partner at that ad agency came up to me and said, "Listen, kid, when somebody holds a loaded gun to your head and pulls the trigger, you should at least have the good grace to lay down." I learned that day that silence can be a very powerful tool. Also, if you shut up, nobody knows how smart you are or how stupid you are. And in keeping with godly anatomical metaphors, there's this. God gave us 2 hands, one for the taking, one for the giving. Find a cause. Find something outside of yourself and give to it. It doesn't have to be money. There are a million ways to get involved in causes, big and small. Make one yours. Number 4, it's easy to do the right thing. What's harder is figuring out what is the right thing. Number 5, don't be afraid to take that first step, even if you can't see the whole staircase. The headlights of your car don't show you the entire trip, just what's in front of you, but you still make that trip. Number 6, sensitivity is overrated. Sensitivity is overrated. I'm not suggesting you be mean to your fellow man. It's just that in these politically charged times, it seems that almost anybody can get offended by something someone else has said. Do not judge yourself by someone else's feelings. That never got anybody anywhere. In fact, I might suggest that real progress has been made as a byproduct of offending others. Where would we be today were it not for Lenny Bruce, a man that was arrested 4 times for telling jokes in a nightclub in the early 60s? Google just one of his routines. You probably haven't heard of him. Google just one of his routines. You may not laugh at the routine, but you'll be amazed that he got arrested for it. Number 7. This one's going to bother some of you, but I believe it to be true. Don't be afraid to be a sucker. Don't let your ego get in the way of something you want in life. Often we get too competitive and we walk away from something quite beneficial. Choose those competitive fights carefully. No one's keeping score, despite what you think. Not only do I think it's a life lesson worth learning, I believe it'll lengthen your life. Also, don't make the mistake of being competitive with your peers. If there's one thing I've learned, no matter what you wind up doing, there's always somebody doing better than you. So what? Worry about maximizing your own opportunities and you'll do great. Number 8, here's one I'm still trying to master, but I try every day, and I highly recommend it. When you wake up in the morning, don't look at your phone, don't look at your iPad, don't go to your computer. Sit quietly for 20 minutes. Dig inward. Read a book that has something to do with nothing you care about. The importance of this is to not know what's going on in the world, but to know what's going on within yourself. I gotta admit, it's been hard for me to do since November 8th. What? It's raining! Oh shit, I'll hurry up, sorry. Okay, number 9. The result of many little things is not little. Pay attention to the little things in your life. They add up to one big difference. Number 10, I thought you were applauding because you liked number 8. Number 10, this is my favorite. This, if you just remember one thing, remember this. Everything that is most important in life is a form of love. Everything. Art is a form of love. If it's noble, Thought is a form of love if it's inspired. Labor is a form of love if it's worthy. Now, I'm a second-generation American. My grandfather was born in Italy. As far as I can tell, he was a gangster, I think. I never saw him hold a job, but he always dressed nicely every day, and he had this beautiful 1952 green Chevy. It was immaculate. I really think he was a gangster. He traveled here on a boat called the Nuestra in 1900. He was 13 years old. He was told as a boy in Italy that the streets of America were lined with gold. He got off the boat and he was quite disappointed. He took that literally. His son, my father, never worried about what he wanted to be. His generation, often called the greatest generation because they fought in World War II and were responsible for perhaps the greatest growth our nation has known. His was a generation that mainly thought about getting any kind of work that would put food on the table. I know that's what my father cared about. My father sold newspapers in a little wooden stall on the corner of 33rd Street and 7th Avenue in Manhattan. He never thought about a higher education. He never even graduated from grammar school. He never had a career goal. He just wanted to find a way to make a living. Which is why when I came along, part of the so-called baby boomer generation, he insisted on a college education for my brothers and me. He told me pretty much what I just spent the last 15 minutes telling you. Don't worry about what to be. Worry about what makes you happy. Then no matter what, you'll be lucky. I think that made him the smartest man I ever knew. Here I am decades later telling you pretty much the same thing. After us baby boomers came Generation X, then came the millennials. My own children, millennials both. The boys I wept over at night because of the terrible mistake I made in my career. They're now extremely talented young men thriving in their own careers, partly because of my mistake. Now it's your turn. You've been labeled the iGens, Generation Z, the Centennials. Isn't that nice to be called a Centennial? I think it beats the hell out of being a baby boomer. You Centennials. You Centennials, you annoy me so. Your youth, your enthusiasm, your future, God bless you. You'll have ups, you'll have downs. Accept the down moments. They're not as bad as you think. And they just may have glorious and hidden surprises for you. Be wary of the up moments. They may just be 99% anticipation and 1% disappointment. And how will you know which is which? Well, as the Zen master said, we'll see. Congratulations. Sit down. Sit down, sit down.
Well, Bill, thank you for that adventure of a talk. I think coming back to Ithaca College to share yourself with the class of 2017 is itself a form of love. What did the Zen master say? No, the Zen master is wrong. Coming back to Ithaca College to share yourself with the class of 17 is a form of love. We don't need to check it out later. Thank you. I'd like to introduce 6 extraordinary individuals. They are the senior class officers. Each of these students, along with their classmates, has provided valued leadership this year, including the organization of class events and the class gift campaign, as well as helping select our commencement speaker. And one more time, would you say they did a decent job on that last task? So first, the Senior Class Director of Communications, Erica Deschino. The Senior Class Directors of Finance, Jack McIntyre and Olivia Oppenheim. The Senior Class Director of Marketing, Natalie Grande. The Senior Class Vice President, Griffin Schultz. And the Senior Class President, Sierra Lucas. I'd also like to have, joining this group on the platform, the two Senior Class Gift Committee co-chairs, Andres Garcia III and Brandon Schneider. And now a few more words about the Senior Class President, Sierra Lucas. Sierra has done, I think you know this, pretty much everything one can do at Ithaca College during her 4 years. She's a Martin Luther King Scholar, she's a Martin Luther King Scholar who majored in journalism and who plans to go into broadcast news. At the end of her first year on campus, she was elected to a 2-year term as student trustee. In other words, my boss. Ms. Lucas served with distinction in that role, offering her fellow trustees insights into campus life and the student experience that they could not get from any other source. At the end of her trusteeship, which was also the end of her junior year, Sierra was elected Senior Class President. You made a great choice. Let's welcome Sierra Lucas, Class of 17.
Good morning, class of 2017. I just have to say the view from here is amazing and you all look phenomenal. Congratulations. President Rashawn, thank you for the wonderful introduction. Board of Trustees, esteemed and hilarious guest speaker, Bill D'Elia, and our distinguished guests, thank you for joining us today on this morning to celebrate this milestone occasion for the class of 2017. To family members, friends, and mentors all out in the crowd today, we did it. Not just us as graduates, but you too, because you got us here today. It's an honor to be representing the class of 2017 and delivering this speech. The last speech I was asked to give was nearly 2 years ago, back in 2015, for the convocation ceremony on behalf of the Board of Trustees. It was my final year as a board member, and at the time I found this formal speech to be daunting. I was asked to deliver wise words to the then freshman class of 2019 and share with them some of my experiences and tips for college. My advice in a nutshell was to hit the ground running, discover new passions and take risks, remember to appreciate the little things, and of course, don't forget to call home. Well, 2 years later, and as a soon-to-be Ithaca College alum, I mean literally, we'll be alumni in about 30 minutes. And honestly, on this day, I could use that very same advice. For the first time in our lives, we are no longer on a timeline. We've fulfilled our degree requirements, all the boxes are checked, and we're now free to start the rest of our lives on our own terms. For some, this is exciting. And for others, including myself, it's scary. Similarly to freshmen, we're starting a new chapter, maybe in a place far away from home, and what the future holds is unknown. But what's so beautiful in this stage of uncertainty is the clean slate that we're about to have, plus a degree, that doesn't hurt either.
And on that day in 2015, my first tip to students was to hit the ground running. Although it's great to be ambitious as we become new students of life today, I say the opposite. If you're able to, go slowly. Take these moments in and acknowledge the accomplishments we all have had throughout these past 4 years. Too often we're caught up in achieving the next goal, finding the next job, looking to the future rather than being where our feet are. No longer being on a timeline means you go at your own pace. Although you may feel pressure to reach the next milestones at a certain age, I want us to remember that it's up to us to determine our own outcomes. Our time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. For tip number 2, I recommended to discover new passions, and this one I believe can stay the same. Each of us are completing a degree in a specific major and field of study, but never feel limited in pursuing alternate routes. If you're a biology major and discover a hidden talent for music, go ahead and chase that dream to be a rock star. What I've learned about our class during these 4 years is that we're a group of trailblazers. We strive to be civically engaged, involved in all areas of campus life, and implement necessary changes to better our communities. Take risks, dare to be great. True opportunity never knocks. You have to look for it, and if you don't find it, create it yourself. Tip number 3 was to appreciate the little things. And we have a head start on this one. Around each of our necks today is a white stole. It might be decorated, and it's a new tradition started by us, the class of 2017. The gratitude stole is a token of appreciation worn during the ceremony, then presented to a person that has made your success at college possible. We launched this idea to highlight the importance of saying thank you, to acknowledge the energy and efforts that each of us has received from at least one person. After all, none of us got here alone. Being here today is no easy feat. We're graduating from Ithaca College, an excellent private institution when only about 33% of Americans have attained a bachelor's degree. Be aware of the privilege each of us hold today as we officially receive our degrees. But let me be clear, this was earned, it was not given. Each of us worked hard to be here today through the all-nighters, hours spent in the library, and of course, the infamous ICC. Okay. I had to expect that would happen. But through gratitude, we learn to appreciate what we already have right in front of us, instead of what we think is missing. Today is a celebration. Let's celebrate you, celebrate me, and all of the things that we've accomplished, and even our shortcomings. Celebrate you and all the people that got us here today. Lastly, don't forget to call home. And this time, I don't mean specifically your hometown, your parents, and other family. After 4 years, Ithaca is now another place to call home, and be sure you don't forget that. Check in with former professors, advisors, and mentors that have watched you grow. And take comfort in the fact that there's a whole community right here in Ithaca that is rooting for our success. We have a home here, and although it's sad and scary to be leaving, we've been given the tools to fly the nest. Now, I can't mention gratitude without saying a few thank yous myself. To my executive board, Griffin, Erica, Natalie, Jack, and Olivia, about a year ago, we campaigned to serve as your class officers under the theme of Swipe Right for Senior Year, which turned into one of the best teams I've ever been a part of. I constantly think to myself that if I can have a job where I work with a group of people like you who make me laugh, constantly encourage each other and fellow colleagues, I'll be absolutely set. To Mom and Dad, we call ourselves Team Lucas. We're small, but we're mighty. And today feels like our biggest win yet. Every day I feel so lucky to be your daughter and continue to make you proud. Thank you for your love. And when I call you with unnecessary worries, Mom, thank you for your truest words of wisdom. Stop being a punk. You're stronger than that. To my 87-year-old grandpa who's here today, thank you for being the chief of our beautiful family. I thank God that he's able to be here today to see me in this moment. Lastly, thank you to Ithaca College staff, faculty, administration, and trustees who've helped me develop into the woman I am today. All of you have given me the confidence to know that I can truly do anything. Today, we're all college graduates transitioning into fully independent adults and perhaps later mothers, fathers, professionals, community leaders, and global citizens of the world. No matter what each of us become, we all have a shared responsibility. And that's to make the world what we dream of it becoming, despite hate, unaccepted differences, and the failure to understand one another that tends to get in the way. We hold more power than we've even yet to realize. Class of 2017, it's been an honor to serve as your senior class president this year. Sincerely and from the bottom of my heart, thank you all and congratulations.
Class of 2017, how are we doing today? We're so close, guys. We're so close. We got this. Good morning. My name's Andres Garcia, and this gentleman to the left of me is Brandon Schneider. We are the Class of 2017 Senior Class Gift Committee co-chairs. At this moment, we'd like to invite Kristen Munston, alumni trustee, to join us at the podium.
For over 37 years, seniors have left their legacy at Ithaca College by participating in one of the oldest traditions, the Senior Class Gift Campaign. Last September, we kicked off our campaign during Alumni Weekend and set out to leave our legacy by supporting the Ithaca College Annual Fund.
The IC Annual Fund has touched each of our lives and has supported the development of our Ithaca College experience. A high-quality, hands-on, interdisciplinary education that provided us with the opportunity to grow into our true selves. This life-changing experience is one that I am forever grateful for and one that we will all never forget.
As we stand before you today, we are pleased to announce that after launching our campaign 8 months ago, our class has supported the college we love so much with 30% senior class participation. This year, we really came together as a class to support the future of Ithaca College. Thank you to the 443 seniors who participated in our campaign and helped us raise $10,564 for our alma mater. Ms. Munson, on behalf of the class of 2017, we present this check to Ithaca College.
We would like to give a special recognition to the members of the Senior Class Gift Committee whose hard work, perseverance, dedication, and leadership made our campaign a success. These members can be recognized today with a green honor cord.
Thank you to the Board of Trustees for your interest and involvement in all of our efforts. And a huge thank you to the Alumni Association Board of Directors for your personal and financial support of our campaign. Your match challenged us to reach greater heights of participation.
And most importantly, the senior class donors. Thank you again for graciously supporting our campaign efforts and carrying on the tradition of philanthropy at Ithaca College. We couldn't have accomplished this without you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Andres and Brandon, for this generous gift from the senior class to the college. On behalf of the Alumni Association, it's my pleasure to congratulate all graduates and welcome you to the Ithaca College family, the alumni family. You join more than 60,000 IC alumni located around the world. Ithaca is forever, and it will shine its light on you. Again, thank you and best wishes.
Thanks, Kristen, and good morning, class of 2017. Come on, you can do a little better than that. As Sierra said, we're almost there. My name is Dave Lissy. I'm the vice chair of the Ithaca College Board of Trustees, and I'm also a proud member of the class of 1987. Now, you don't have to be a math major to realize that, yes, that means that exactly 30 years ago today, I was sitting exactly where most of you are out there. And to be honest, I'm having a little bit of trouble wrapping my head around that. But I do remember sitting on the stage, incredibly nervous, a little bit like Sierra, as the president of my class, getting ready to give the biggest speech of my life in front of thousands of people. Not nearly as good as Sierra, though. And I remember hearing our then president, Jim Whalen, tell us to... Okay, that's right, the school. He's not just a building. And he told us to enjoy this moment in time, enjoy the freedom, enjoy the possibility. A time when we could still fit most of our worldly possessions in the trunk of our car. And I remember leaving Ithaca, filling up my tank at Rogan's, which was built in my junior year. And I drove my beat-up old car out of Ithaca after saying many long goodbyes to friends and mentors, wondering where the road ahead would lead me. And life has taken many roads, but my time in Ithaca certainly paved the way. I hope you'll always find Ithaca to be a second home of sort, like it's been for me. Not in the sense of a physical shelter, but rather as one that endures, as a place to return to and reflect upon as your life experiences play out. Now, to be fair, 30 years ago, I had no idea whether I'd end up staying connected to Ithaca College. But sure enough, once I found my footing, I found myself wanting to give back to the place that gave me so much. I wanted to honor the faculty that changed me in so many ways, shaped my life, and changed the way I saw the world. I wanted to stay connected to the community that held so much of my heart. It's the place where I met today still some of my best lifelong friends. And most important, the place that introduced me to Suzanne, my wife of 26 years, whom I met in the East Tower elevator. And she and my 3 kids are right over there today. I see them out there. So, like Bill, kudos for the strong women of Ithaca College. Now, I know you're probably not spending a lot of time today thinking about how you'll stay connected to IC in the future, and I get that. To be fair, I wasn't thinking a lot about that on my graduation day either. But standing here today, I'm grateful that I eventually figured out how much I wanted to come back and give back to the college. I've met proud and very impressive IC alums all along my life journey, both personally and professionally, and now you too are part of our distinguished alumni community. I hope you'll find ways to stay connected and pay it forward, either by coming back here to South Hill or in the many cities and towns around the world where your fellow bombers make their own communities. Trust me, you won't regret it. And who knows, maybe 30 years ago, one of you might be up on a stage just like this, talking to brand new college graduates who, get this, were born in the year 2025, and wondering what advice you possibly could give them that they might be able to relate to, realizing you hope they'll stay connected to IC just like you did, and feeling very proud of them and proud of your alma mater. Congratulations to each and every one of you on behalf of the Board of Trustees, and to everybody in your lives who's out there who helped to shape you to get to this remarkable day. Now let me say a few words about the 8th president of Ithaca College. As we know, today marks Tom Rochon's last commencement as he retires from the college this summer. Tom's led the college for the past 9 years, with his tenure beginning just as our nation faced some of the worst economic times in generations. In the face of this challenge, President Rochon worked tirelessly to lead the college through the development and implementation of its first ever IC 2020 strategic plan. As we know, Ithaca College has a special place in the world of higher education, combining professional education with the liberal arts in a student-centric learning environment. So as President Rochon's tenure draws to a close, the college is well positioned to continue to evolve and thrive into the future. Personally, I've considered it a privilege to work with President Rochon as a trustee, and I know firsthand the unwavering commitment he's always had to enhancing the mission of Ithaca College. Tom, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, we thank you deeply for your service. Best wishes to you and Amber and your whole family in all of your future endeavors. And now for the big moment. Welcome back, President Rochon, for the conferral of your degrees.
Well, they call this graduation day, so let's do some graduating. I'm going to call upon the deans of our 5 schools in the order of their founding to present the graduate and undergraduate degree candidates. And that means that I now invite the Dean of the School of Music, Carl Polnack, to come forward.
Candidates for all degrees from the School of Music, please rise. President Rochon, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements and who are duly recommended by the faculty for the appropriate degree, be it Master of Music, Master of Science, Bachelor of Music, or Bachelor of Arts. Candidates, please be seated.
Dean of the School of Humanities and Sciences, Vincent Wong.
Candidates for all degrees from the School of Humanities and Sciences, please rise. President Rochon, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements and who are duly recommended by the faculty for the appropriate degree, be it Master of Science, Master of Arts in Teaching, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Arts, or Bachelor of Fine Arts. Candidates, please be seated.
I call upon the Dean of the Park School of Communications, Diane Gajewski.
Candidates for all degrees from the Roy H. Park School of Communications, please rise. President Rochon, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled their requirements and duly recommended by the faculty for the appropriate degree of Master of Science, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Arts, or Bachelor of Fine Arts. Candidates, please be seated.
I call upon the Dean of the School of Business, Sean Reed.
Candidates for all degrees from the School of Business, please rise. President Rashawn, I have the honor to present these outstanding candidates who have fulfilled the requirements and who are duly recommended by the faculty for the appropriate degree, be it Master of Science, Master of Business Administration, Bachelor of Science, or Bachelor of Arts. Candidates, please be seated.
I call upon the Dean of the School of Health Science and Human Performance, John Sigg.
Candidates for all degrees from the School of Health Sciences and Human Performance, please rise. President Rochon, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements and who are duly recommended by the faculty for the degree of Doctorate of Physical Therapy, Master of Science, Bachelor of Science, or Bachelor of Arts. Candidates, please be seated.
And now, will the candidates for all undergraduate and graduate degrees in the class of 2017 please rise? By the authority vested in me by the Regents of the University of the State of New York and the trustees of Ithaca College, I hereby confer upon each of you the degree for which you have been recommended by the faculty with all the rights, privileges, and honors pertaining thereto. Congratulations. This is the moment you may each move your tassel from right to left in commemoration of your commencement. Congratulations, class of 2017. We're getting it back. For the first time ever, we're getting confetti blowback. We join you. Congratulations. I think I'm supposed to say you may be seated.
Please remain seated until the faculty and graduates have recessed from the stadium. Thank you.